It's a new year, and that means it's time for me to try some new Italian food. But in this case, we're not talking about something new that Eva makes for me or something new that we find in some amazing restaurant in Italy.
Today you are going to try, Harper, for the first time, the frozen Italian food.
We're all familiar with like frozen convenience food, pre-made dishes and stuff that you pop in the microwave or the oven or something. Obviously, being an American, we have a ton of that stuff.
I remember those aisles full of frozen food. In Italy we have, not as much as you have in America, but we have our own frozen food.
Yeah, I knew it existed and I did want to try it, but it was surprisingly difficult to actually find. Our local little grocery store here in Dessau, their freezer space is maybe the size of like a home chest freezer, and it's mostly just like frozen fish and gelato, stuff like that. It's not
Nothing really prepared.
Yeah, it's nothing I would call a convenience meal. So we had to drive 45 minutes to go to the biggest grocery store in the area.
And most of that section was just gelato.
It was mostly still just vegetables and fish, but we did find some Italian frozen convenience food. I'm curious to see how it stacks up to what I'm used to finding in a freezer aisle.
The first frozen food is an antipasto, and it's called olive alla scolana. Now, this is a traditional recipe from Ascoli, which is a city in the Marche region, and they are big olives stuffed with meat, cold cuts, paste, cheese, and then they are before put in the egg wash and then braided.
Yeah, these caught my eye because you've made for me like the real thing before, and they're really, really, really good. So I want to see what the frozen convenience version is like. I love how these actually have instructions for how to fry them at home. Like you would never see that in the US. It would be in the microwave or in the oven.
Because you don't fry at home in America.
Convenience food would never be like, oh, just deep fry them at home yourself.
It's like, I'm sorry, this is the way to go, because they make the frozen, but they are still raw, so you need to cook them.
Yeah, in the microwave. You nuke it for a few minutes.
No, you need to actually cook them.
All right, we've got our little sample of olive alla ascolana, frozen version to try.
The traditional homemade version are amazing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're not as good as homemade. I mean, pretty much nothing is. But actually, you know, I have pretty high hopes for this because it's exactly the kind of thing that you can freeze very easily. Even if you make them at home, there's no problem with making them, freezing them, and then frying them later. They won't be any worse at all.
The only difference can be on the choice, the quality of the ingredient.
Well, I looked at the ingredients. First of all, they're like shockingly simple. It's like olives, it has mortadella, beef in it, and it actually has grana padano DOP.
But when a food is frozen, that doesn't mean that it needs to be bad.
Right, in the theory. The problem is in practice.
Buon appetito.
So you can see, it's a big, giant green olive, and it's stuffed with meat, battered and fried. And that's exactly what you get. And
That's good.
Not bad, yeah.
I told you.
If I'd never had your homemade olive alla scolana, I would be like, oh wow, these are really good.
Imagine, for example, if you have guests suddenly for your dinner, you don't have a lot of time to cook. You have a box of them, you fry 3 minutes, and you can give them some good things to snack on.
The other thing I'm noticing that is a little bit surprising is how good the olives are. They're like, they have a very strong and good olive taste. Like you really taste the olive, whereas
Because it's an olive.
I'm sorry, I'm used to like, usually like vegetable ingredients in frozen food being pretty bland. That like tastes like a really good olive.
I'm used to
I'm not, okay? I'm not. I'm used to, you know, like Hot Pockets and stuff. Speaking of which, though.
This is the closest thing that you can find in Italy to a Hot Pocket.
Sofficini.
It is, and they always be a staple in every kid's food. We have several flavors of them. Mine personal preference goes for the cheese version, but because I'm trying to prove Harper how good the sofficini are, we choose the combination cheese, mozzarella, and tomatoes.
Is that like the most classic flavor?
Usually there are two, or mozzarella and tomatoes, or no, actually three. Or prosciutto e formaggio, mozzarella and tomatoes, or just formaggio. Then nowadays you find parmigiana, mushroom, potatoes, because they develop a lot of flavor. There is Carletto. Ah, there is Carletto. When I was a child, there wasn't Carletto. Carletto is the, how do you call, camaleonte?
Chameleon?
Yes, who is the testimonial of the Sofficini Findus. Carletto.
Oh, okay. I can see how that's somewhat close to a Hot Pocket. It's kind of more like calzone shaped.
And the slogan of the Sofficini Findus is Sofficini Findus, il sorriso che c'è in te, the smile that's inside of you. You see?
So I'm already a little confused right off the bat because you've given us forks.
Yes.
So you eat this with a fork?
Sì.
See, this is where you guys need to learn a little bit from us Americans. You need a little cardboard sleeve that you put it in, and then you can eat it on the go.
Those are meant to be like a dinner. So you sit and you eat with a fork like a normal person should do.
All right, a little strange for me. I feel like I'm eating a Hot Pocket with a fork, which is pretty weird.
Cheese, tomatoes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, pay attention because the sofficini, they can be very tricky because inside they are like, how do you say, lava?
Yes. Yes. It's the same with Hot Pockets, except with Hot Pockets, you also risk, depending on how good your microwave is, that they can be frozen in the middle. Hot Pockets!
Buon appetito.
Buon appetito. No, that is much better and more evenly cooked throughout than a Hot Pocket. Well, it's actually cooked. It's good.
I know that is good.
It's good.
We choose to fry them because this is the best way to cook them. But nowadays...
Yeah, they had instructions for deep frying, air fryer, or just normal oven. There weren't even microwave instructions.
Never you will find a microwave instruction on a box of those. Oh.
It's good. It's got good tomato flavor. Like, it actually tastes like tomatoes, which is nice.
It tastes like cheese.
Good cheese. I looked at the ingredients. It's real mozzarella. The dough is surprisingly kind of light and
It is like
not super heavy.
Just a little bit, a sort of crepe.
Yeah, crepe.
I'm using the French pronunciation. Now, it's not that you can cook them every day,
Yeah, it's,
but once in a while.
as far as like kind of junk food goes, that's pretty good. Hot Pockets and sofficini, they're foods that are like just this kind of unique thing, right? But there's another category of frozen food, which is food that most people would, you know, make homemade, and that's normally how it would be, but there's also the frozen convenience version of it. And one that I never expected to see in Italy, but I found it, is frozen pasta. And I don't mean just like frozen pasta, I mean a frozen pasta complete dish. And what a pasta dish it is. Pappardelle al ragu. So you have egg fresh pasta, and I assume it's like bolognese ragu.
I assume so, at least from this. Now, I remember when the Quattro Salti in Padella were born. I remember, and for us it was a sort of shock, because how you can cook the pasta but from frozen, like just in a pan. Water, tomato passata, beef, onion, tomato paste, red wine, oil, celery, carrots, garlic, salt, thyme, black pepper, and rosemary. Then there is egg fresh pasta, and is made with flour and egg. And stop. Actually, is how it should be made, but just in a frozen version.
Oh, weird. That's not what I was expecting.
It's normal.
No, but like these big chunks of ragu that presumably melt in the pan. I thought it would just be already like mixed up like that.
So in a pan, you put a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of water, and then all the things in the bag goes into the pan, and you cook for 8 minutes, and it's done.
It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look, at this point now, that much different than if you had just made some pasta and ragu.
And also the smell. The smell of a bolognese sauce. Yeah. Maybe not the best bolognese sauce, but...
So I already have some observations to make. However, the rule with pasta always is you never sit on it. You eat it as quickly as possible, even when it's bagged, frozen pasta with a pre-made sauce. So I think first we should taste it.
And I have to say that while I had the olive alla scolana before, I had the sofficini before, I never had this before. So also for me, it's the first time.
All right.
Buon appetito.
It's very interesting to me to have this pasta dish that is frozen and pre-made in a sense, but you actually cook it all together in a pan, because there are lots of frozen pasta dishes in America that I've had before, and usually they come in some sort of like plastic tray with almost like a cling wrap cover. And it's always like microwaved. Pasta and microwaves, just as a general rule, should never meet each other. So that was already very interesting. The one thing I immediately noticed clearly a downside of this is that the pasta tended to break quite a bit because you're stirring half frozen pasta, so
but
it's...
even when you take out of the pocket, the bag...
It's already, because it's just been transported in a bag and stuff, so that's definitely a downside. However, what surprises me the most is that like the texture of the pasta is good. When you have microwaved frozen pasta, it is just like rubbery, and the edges that aren't covered in sauce become like hard and dry, and it's awful. This like surprisingly like perfectly al dente. They nailed that. So
the pasta, as Harper was saying, is perfectly al dente. It's perfectly cooked. What I don't like is the sauce. The sauce has something that, to my taste, doesn't work. I would suggest make your own pasta and freeze your own pasta. Make your own bolognese ragu and freeze your own bolognese ragu. When it's time for dinner, you put a pot of boiling water, cook the pasta, defrost the ragu alla bolognese, mix together and enjoy.
Yeah, because frozen and fresh pasta is a very common thing. You do it all the time, but you normally boil it first rather than just putting it in the pan already with the sauce.
And the ragu alla bolognese, if you make an extra huge quantity, you can divide the small portion.
Yeah.
When you take out 5 minutes on a stove and it's done.
But if someone served this to you and didn't tell you that it was like a pre-made thing out of a bag, you would just eat it and be like, okay, it's like not great, but you wouldn't...
you can't say that it's frozen. This, yes,
you wouldn't know.
It's not the best tagliatelle ragu, but you don't taste that it's frozen at all.
For what it is, pleasantly surprised. That is a lot better than I thought a bag of frozen pasta with pre-made sauce is going to be. Well, after an appetizer, a sort of street foodie snack kind of thing maybe, our, let's call it main course of our pasta and ragu, I think it's time to try a frozen side dish. So this one I chose because if it's good, I think it's gonna be really good. I hope it's good.
Fungo, porcini mushroom with Italian potatoes.
Yep.
Seasoned. There isn't any instruction on how
on
to
the front.
cook.
It just says in a pan, 10 minutes.
Let's see the ingredient. So is porcini mushroom, potatoes, sunflower oil, garlic, parsley, salt, and pepper. Oh, but look. At the end, potatoes are potatoes. Mushroom are mushroom. And you can smell actually the mushroom. There is a very good smell of porcini mushroom.
So we actually eat a lot of frozen mushrooms. Not quite in this way, but Ava's dad is like an expert mushroom hunter, and every autumn he goes up into the mountains and he gets tons of porcini mushrooms, and then he has an entire chest freezer that is just dedicated for mushrooms. So he just fills it with mushrooms in like the short little period where they're in season, and then we have mushrooms the rest of the year.
The smell is not bad. It's like you can smell.
It smells very mushroomy. It smells like porcini.
You can smell the porcini mushroom. So we need to try to see.
Let's see how they compare to your dad's frozen mushrooms.
Buon appetito.
Buon appetito. I think it smells better than it looks. I don't taste a lot of mushroom flavor, actually.
Okay, those mushrooms, they are not the best mushroom in the world. The potato, it's a frozen potato, and everyone knows that potatoes frozen are not good.
This is by far the weakest of the day, which is funny because when I saw this in the store and I picked it, at first I was hesitant because I was like, oh, that's too easy of a win for Italy. Because it's like, you look at the ingredients, it's just like mushroom, potatoes, salt, parsley, like the ingredients couldn't be simpler. How can you go wrong with porcini mushrooms and potatoes? So I thought this was just a hit it out of the ballpark. That's why I almost didn't pick it, because I just thought it was too easy. Ironically, it's the worst thing we had today.
See, because in my opinion, there is something that in the way in which they do, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, it's just not a very good dish.
See.
That's surprising. I thought that this was gonna be just like probably the best thing we ate today. Nope.
It's very bad.
Yep, that's the worst. So far, that is, because we still have one more thing to try, and that is the king of all frozen food, probably around the world, I'm guessing, and that, of course, is frozen pizza. Now, everyone knows that frozen pizza generally doesn't compare to real pizza, but what if you live in the land of pizza? I am dying to know what Italian frozen pizza is like. The #1 brand of frozen pizza, and this is a bufala pizza. So it's a margherita with real mozzarella di bufala Campagna DOP. That actually looks pretty good already. It smells really good already. It literally smells like an actual pizzeria. All right, time for my first Italian frozen pizza.
Yes, it's time for your first frozen pizza.
Gotta say, it looks pretty darn good for a frozen pizza.
Absolutely. Also because also here for a pizza, it can't be like the fresh one, but you can make a pizza, good pizza, you frozen it and then you reheat. This is the concept.
I feel like it probably is unlikely to taste bad considering the fact that it's real mozzarella di bufala, tomato sauce, olive oil, basil. The big question I think is like the crust and how that's going to be, you know?
So the only way in which we can understand is actually trying it.
Okay, that definitely feels
a little bit different.
A little different than a normal pizza, a normal Neapolitan pizza, that is. Oh, look at that crust there. It looks pretty.
It's like it's full of bubbles.
Yeah. Buon appetito.
Buon appetito.
Okay. Hands down, and by a huge margin, the best frozen pizza I've ever had.
It tastes very, very good.
Wow.
The mozzarella is good.
Yeah.
The tomatoes is good.
The crust is the only giveaway, really, because it's obviously a little bit different. It's a little bit more like crispy and crunchy than a Neapolitan pizza would be. It's a little bit thicker and not quite as light and fluffy, but it's not bad at all. Mm-hmm. It's very, very good. I did not know that frozen pizzas could be that good. I did not think it was possible. I honestly expected this to be maybe like comparable to some of the best, more expensive frozen pizzas you can get in the US. No, this is like
This is a legit pizza.
far and away better than anything I've had.
This is a legit pizza.
If I made this pizza at home from scratch, I would be proud. I would be like, I did a good job. I'm having more. It's really good. Well, thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed my first experience with Italian frozen convenience food. I have to say, I was pretty surprised with the results. Before we go, a quick look at a pasta grammarian who made something that I've definitely never seen in the freezer aisle of a store. They made strufoli, the amazing companion Christmas dessert.
Actually, not just for Christmas.
Huh?
Because in the south of Italy, we use the struffoli for Christmas and for Carnival. So
Ah, well, Carnival's coming up, so if anyone still wants to make strufoli, now's a good time. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.
I have a problem with this kind of video with you.
What?
I can never have my revenge.
Yeah, because I tortured you with so much food like this in the US, but then when you try to show it to me.
That's the junk food. It was all pretty good.